Hello everyone, and welcome to Crypto Atlas. This is going to be a short, but a pretty direct video in regards to AMC and an update on what's been going on as of lately. I'm going to go a little bit over as well as where we're kind of looking at with the price and with the squeeze. If you guys are new to the channel, do not forget to hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, like button. It definitely helps us out with the YouTube search algorithm. Click the bell icon so that you know whenever we have a new video. And please keep in mind, I am not a financial advisor. Everything I'm sharing is my own research, it's my own opinion. I highly encourage you guys to go do your own due diligence and research things on your own as well. And I am on Twitter at CryptoAtlasYT. You guys can see my handle right down here in the bottom right-hand side if you guys want to come and be a part of that community. Sorry about my hair being a little bit weird, but like it's getting to that point now where my hair is getting just long enough that I get these cowlicks sometimes, and it is what it is right now. But yeah, have fun with that. I don't know. Let's go ahead and move on. So Ortex, some interesting things. They quoted this, but let me clarify some stuff. So there was an interview on Trade's channel in which he had it with the CEO of AMC, and it's about an hour long. It's a really good listen if you guys want to check it out. And some of the key takeaways from that, right? So there was a sale, and earlier today there was quite a substantial hit that took place with AMC's price, and this drop it hurt. I mean, it ended up closing out the day down almost 18%, and then in the after hours it dropped even further down to $47.50 as of the moment. So that interview has since come out, and that was after the official closing of the post market. So one of the things that was identified is that the sale that took place was 11.55 million shares. It's now been completed, and that helped raise $587.4 million. I think one of the things that people need to remember is that in order for a squeeze to happen for a stock, well, the company needs to exist. And everything that happened with 2020 really hurt the movie theaters. And so for them to be able to acquire additional funding to then help them with things like debt and rent that they owe different landlords, trying to do the acquisitions towards things like ArcLight that was mentioned before, you need to have funding available to be able to do that. The fact that we're here as a community and helping in acquiring these stocks is creating those kinds of opportunities. So with that being said, this money is not going into the pockets of the people that actually work at the corporation. Adam actually said that they reviewed it and they looked at what options that they had, and so none of that actually went into their pockets. This is all being used for the distribution to help out the company. In addition to that we are not going to be seeing more shares like this for the rest of the year, for 2021. So of the 20 million, there was about 8.5 million that was taking place the other day, and that was helping out the organization. I think it was Melvin Capital, if I remember correctly, that has actually supplied a lot of funding to help AMC stay alive back around December. And that large amount, which was $100 million, kind of led the way for a bunch of other investors to come in to also try and show some support. So whatever they do with their money, it's their decision. Obviously, if they would have held it like another day, they would have been able to make a lot more off of it. But AMC is doing what they can to try and help appease some of the investors that have helped them out during its worst times. So this isn't a hit or a jab against us, the regular retail investors, and it's justifiable what it is that they did with this. And again, the great news is that 20 million is now done. So if they add any more shares, they would only do that if it was voted upon by us, the shareholders, that we say, yes, we want you to do that. Another big takeaway from this is that they said that they hope that we do say that, because when new shares are created, it did over $1 billion in helping them in raising capital. And again, they've got, like, for example, they have to pay the rent on one of the movie theaters. I mean, many of the movie theaters, right? But because of the pandemic, when it happened back then, they said, it's okay. You don't have to pay it back right now. You can pay us back later. We understand what's going on. We're here to work with you. So if AMC suddenly receives a bunch of new cash, they could potentially go to those and then say, hey, are you willing to lower the amount that we owe you if we can pay it off in cash right now? And that would be absolutely amazing. That puts more security of mind that the movie theaters have a longer term to continue to exist and continue to thrive and move forward as we get back to normal, right? Plus, you also need to think that what if there was another pandemic? Chances of it happening are pretty slim right now, but there's variants that are going out, and We hope that that doesn't happen. But what if it does? Well, what money is there to help AMC movie theaters for another year? So just kind of think of situations like that, right? So yeah, they had that taken care of. In the interview, they said 11 million shares when we're trading 500 million shares a day should not be alarming. It's our view that we're strengthening the company and not hurting the company. And I think that makes sense. The volume of the 500 million shares, he reiterated that they were seeing before 500 million shares being traded a week. But the last 2 weeks, basically, it's been 500 million shares a day on average. Continuing on that, the short interest rate did drop down a little bit. It went from a little over 18% down to 17.83%. And we did see that the price has dropped quite considerably. So some people taking out, closing their positions is more than likely. However, there's a lot of interesting information that's still going on here, right? So one thing that actually pertains to earlier today as well was this. The statement was issued back on June 1st. And if you guys take a look down here towards the bottom, it identifies that any clearing member who does not satisfy a clearing fund deficit within the 2 business day period ending at 9 a.m. Central Time on June 3rd will be immediately issued a draft upon their bank in order to satisfy any clearing fund deficit. So the idea is that they were potentially selling off positions in a lot of different things to try and avoid these kinds of issues, or to potentially expand their shorting positions here very soon. So looking at some more data, what we have going on over here, this is through amc.crazyawesomecompany.com. I think it's really nice, comprehensive website put together for AMC, obviously. So if you guys take a look at this, you guys can actually see that the shares available to borrow is 1 million shares. This is a dramatic increase. When we take a look at this in comparison to yesterday, it was at multiple points in time 0 shares available to borrow. And at one point, I saw 1,000 shares available to borrow. So now it's 1 million. That's quite substantial. And that could be an incentive where some of the hedge funds, they're still wanting to short for whatever reason. They could say, oh, look, I got more that I can work with. Same thing with the ETFs. This was about 1.48 million, if I remember correctly. And now it's increased. It's over 2 million shares. So there's more available shares for them to be able to borrow. And if they're crazy, they're going to jump on it. So I would really keep an eye on the Ortex reports and see what that data is going to be when it comes out later tomorrow. I would expect high volatility in the market. I am leaning towards a positive side. I'm bullish on this. I think the interview went really well with Adam Aaron. I think it conveyed a very good message. It answered some very good questions. Trades, great job on being able to get that set up and handling that. And Trades, he was also on Fox News. I think it was Fox News earlier today. And he elaborated on it very well, where we're kind of at. Like, it's a mission statement that we're trying to do against the hedge funds and proving a point. So if we take a look at the actual price levels here, guys, once again, it actually closed in the after hours at 47.50. And then the interview came out with everything. And the substantial drop that had taken place with this, 18%, we should understand that it's realistic that we see these kinds of dips. I know, unfortunately, I don't have the chart up in front of us right here, but when a short squeeze takes place, there's normally a little bit of a pullback. So it's almost like you're pulling the slingshot back. You get that price dip, and then boom, you rip. And when it rips hard. So what are we going to see tomorrow? If this plays out in a best case scenario, I think that we could be pushing past not only the $75 range, but testing right around 100. If you actually look at this Fibonacci extension, you guys can see right here that at $95.39, which is just below 100, is a next major level of identification. That's all being identified off of when this run really started to push off, okay? So now if I swap over to the daily, look at this. This is actually pretty interesting. I know it's only referencing 2 big daily candles that you guys can see here. Obviously, my reference points identifies for that first candle, but with the secondary candle, that body wick was essentially dead on right within the middle, both above the center of it and the bottom, obviously the center of it. So that, I think, is quite interesting. On top of that, if you take into account where the price closed in the after hours, is about midway down to the lower quadrant section, right? or the lower section. I mean, quadrant, I guess. Can there be more than 4 quadrants? I mean, it's quad, it's 4. Probably not. Anyways, so if it drops down below this level, this key level, the 0.236, then in my opinion, that's essentially saying the same thing as like we're in an oversold territory. So with everything that's going on, a lot of these short positions, the hedge funds, et cetera, the individuals that are doing it, they're not getting liquidated. They're not getting margin called, and they're sticking to their guns. We did see a little bit of a dip in that regards, but there's a lot more shares that are available to borrow. I'm sure that there were some retail investors that freaked out. It went quite low at one point earlier today, and you know what I did when I saw it? I went back to sleep. I saw how dramatic that it dropped down. I think it was right near the bottom of that, and I was one of those people where I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I'm going back to sleep. Let's see what happens when I wake up. And I woke up and I was like, oh, yeah, this is about the movement, baby. So some people could look at me and say that I'm foolish for doing stuff like that. But hey, you know what? I believe in the cause. I believe in the potential of this. I'm not a financial advisor. It's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think about everything in the comments down below. I guess the video did end up being just a little bit longer than what I intended. I do have referral links if you guys are familiar with these kinds of things for both crypto and for stocks. There's links in the description for Coinbase, Gemini, BlockFi, Robinhood, Webull. You guys can check all those out. If you use my referral link for BlockFi, you can actually earn up to $250 in bonus crypto because I'm an affiliate with them. So yeah, guys, please don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up like button, click the bell icon, share the video if you think anybody else will find this video helpful as a quick little update on things. And I will see you guys in the next episode.